and a warm welcome to all. I'm Ruth Nelson, founder of GoKidsYouth Sports ChatBOX, and I'm excited to be your host for a monthly In the Know series where we spotlight game changers through leaders and rising stars making a difference in youth sports and beyond. Joining me as co-host for this special episode is David Delosier, now back in Big D. He's currently coaching at Prestonwood Christian Academy in Plano, Texas, and has recently joined the coaching staff at Skyline Juniors Volleyball Club. David was part of our very first class of certified GoKidsYouth Sports skills trainers, and we're thrilled to have him back with us for this exciting conversation. So tonight, we spotlight an outstanding club director, youth coach founder, and a powerhouse behind Texas Wave Volleyball in Kaufman, Texas. For those that don't know, Kaufman, Texas is just outside of Dallas. She is joining us to share her inspiring journey in the world of youth and club volleyball. As the founder of Little Waves program designed especially for kids ages 10 and under, she brings unmatched passion, creativity, and a dedication to early athlete development. With a fundamental first approach, she has made it her mission to help young players build confidence, skills, and a love for the game, all while navigating the unique challenges of leading a club in a small town setting. Recently, she and her daughter attended the 2025 USA Volleyball Hall of Fame event in Denver, Colorado for the first time, and she's bringing that energy straight to us. She'll share what it meant to be surrounded by legends of the sport and how the experience reignited her commitment to growing the game at the grassroots level. Plus, get an exclusive look at her exciting new role as co-host to RNN Sports Gym Buzz, where she's already bringing a fresh voice, authentic perspective, and undeniable heart to the mark. Mike, please join us in welcoming Kristi.
Hello.
Kristi Arrington, how are you doing?
I'm great. How are y'all?
Well, David is excited about seeing, everything about what you're thinking about doing.
Absolutely.
Entire program, right?
For sure.
Well, guess what? So before David begins with his questions, we have a special, of course, sizzle highlighting some of Kristi's journey. And Kristi, you can actually jump in and say a few words about it.
Okay. That's Little Waves.
Huh?
Those are some of our graphics for our summer events, from Little Waves to Fast Fours. That's one of our first Little Waves groups. Look how cute. That's 5 and 6 year olds. That's a little bit older group. That's Jenny and I at the Hall of Fame, and then our end of season banquet.
So we got a chance to have a little snapshot of what you've been doing, but David is going to start out with a conversation, so I'll let him jump in.
Well, Kristi, it's great to see you again. I'm looking forward to interviewing you tonight. First off, let's start with your journey. What inspired you to get into coaching and eventually lead your own club, Texas Wave?
Oh gosh. So originally, way back in the day, I've just loved sports. I've been a part of it most of my life. I had a really good coach that poured into me with just fundamentals, a big John Wooden kind of philosophy and mindset. And he taught me how to work hard, how to dream big, and how to kind of, I guess, execute the play, as you would call it. And so I tried to get out of coaching. I kept getting asked to do stuff, and it just kept coming around. And so here I am, jumping in with both feet, doing things I never thought I'd be doing. So it's pretty exciting.
So very cool. As a club director in a small town like Kaufman, what are some of the unique challenges you face, especially when it comes to access to facilities and resources?
Well, Kaufman is about 45 miles southeast of Dallas. And originally, when we began the club, one of the first things that we came up against was all of our kids were from Kaufman, which is not a bad thing in and of itself. It's just that we have kids who have the same experiences coming from the same programs. And I believe there's a lot of benefit in mixing with kids from other programs. And so now we've grown and we have kids from all over our county and even outside of our county coming and playing ball with us. the biggest challenge that we have now is facilities. We struggle to work with the school district, not to work with them, but to find time within their busy schedule, especially when it's the winter season. We have basketball and band is doing their stuff indoors, and it's just really, really complicated. So we do our best with what we have, and we've been very blessed and lucky to be able to fit in enough places where we can get all of our teams practice twice a week for 2 hours a week. And so, but if there's one thing that's the biggest struggle, it's that facility issue.
Gotcha.
But aren't you a teacher in that school district?
Yes, ma'am. I teach. I've been teaching this district for 25 years.
Okay.
Long
Wow.
time. Yeah. Taught first grade, second grade, first and second grade PE, junior high PE, and now I do sixth grade history at the junior high. So
Cool.
yeah, been here a long time.
So even though you have that connection that long a period of time, you have to figure out how you develop your programs so that it's not only a super positive event for the community, but to get the schools to buy into what you're doing. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. So yeah, we spend, well, my coaches know we work really hard to, leave every place that we touch better than we found it. And we, do anything and everything that they ask us to do, which they've been willing to, first of all, allow us to use their facilities. We rent them. They have a new program where we go online and I have to reserve everything online. It makes it a little bit more difficult because I don't have the luxury of canceling and moving things around like I would if we had obviously our own facility. But yeah, so it's just a different experience. We've been using their online system for a year now. We're moving into our second year using it with them.
Okay. So you've created the Little Waves program for kids 10 and under. What sparked the idea and what has the response from your community been like?
So this is, I think, our third summer to do Little Waves. The first year we did it, well, let me start with what sparked it. So what sparked it was a lady named Ruth Nelson.
Oh,
yeah. So when you first came to me, Ruth, talking about it, I'd met you previously in a gym in Plano. You were doing GoKids, or not GoKids, but
BYOP.
Yes, BYOP. And actually, I think it was just a training you were doing with some older high school kids. But the point is that you had talked to me about it at a clinic that I had been to in Abilene, and I just wasn't ready to do it because I didn't know what I was doing yet with this club. I just started it. And then by the next season, somehow we stayed connected, or you reached out a few times, and I was like, okay, let's do it, Ruth. So
because you wanted your daughter to start training.
That's right. I wanted her to start training with you. And I was asking you questions about how that would look and things like that. That's how we kept in touch. That's right. And so that next year I got certified. That next summer came right back and started Little Waves right then. And the first year we had some pretty good response. Second year was pretty good. This year we're packed out. Like we're doing 4 sessions and we're maxed out. So it's been exciting. Kids are wanting to come and play.
I told you 100 kids.
Yes, I don't quite have 100 because I have to cut it, where I can manage the amount of kids that I have in there. But yeah.
No, what we need to do then, if you have that number, then we need to find a few parents that are willing to build you a facility.
Definitely.
And then, because they don't want you to turn away any kids to give them that opportunity.
That's true.
So would you consider what you're doing a community-based program?
Yes. I mean, we tap into the kids in our community. We do some service projects throughout our community. Next week, I'm going to be doing Texas Wave at a daycare in our community. Yep. And so I'm excited about that. If we had our own facility, we would definitely be able to do a lot more community-based events because we would have the luxury of doing things when we wanted and on our time schedule. Because things are here at the school, I have to manage the schedule around all the school things that are happening at the school. Plus, is it something the school district is going to allow me to do in their facilities? So, yeah.
So what core values or principles do you prioritize when working with young athletes, and especially in the developmental years? But would you also touch a little bit on your Christian-based philosophy?
Oh, for sure.
Because, that is unique in the sense that a lot of clubs may have Christian values, but they may not advocate as much as you do.
Yeah. So for littles, I really feel like everything should be fundamental. And I really love how the Go Kids program incorporates physical movement patterns. I didn't think about that much until obviously getting trained with you, but it's huge to teach kids to move and do things. I mean, jump rope is my favorite because you can see desperately how kids don't know how to jump rope. And it's so sad because we grew up back in the day just doing that, just moving and going and jumping and falling and all the things. And kids just, they don't know how to do basic things that we took for granted growing up.
Wait, let me ask you this. Do you think if more physical education teachers became GoKids certified, do you think that they would be more receptive to all the things that we're talking about, movement, skills, and so forth?
I would think so. I would hope that physical educators have a lot of training within their degree to be able to understand these movement patterns and how important they are. But at the same time, I think there are some specific things that go beyond just the basic motor skills, like, skipping and hopping and jumping, but like the eye-hand coordination things that you do with the tennis balls or the small ball. And those are things that kids in lower level elementary would love in a PE class, but they're developing all of those very important skills that kids just don't seem to lack. Just throwing. I mean, throwing is an important skill. Kids don't do it unless you teach them. Used to, we just figured it out, but you have to basically teach them how to do those things.
Okay, David, guess what? I took some of your question. So you go right ahead. You got your question.
All right. Kristi, you're a fellow certified GoKidsYouth Sports Skills trainer. How has that training shaped your coaching approach and your work with younger players?
Well, I think I kind of answered all that just then, but yeah, basically the movement patterns is the big thing that it helps me, or it's helped me realize that there's small things you can do within a short amount of time to help young kids learn how to move efficiently, specifically that would help them not just in volleyball, but in all sports.
Now, in that same token, so a little bit different, something I've noticed, have you found that with that training with young players, have you now done that with older players as well in your program?
Yes, there are lots of little things that we do with our older ones that we definitely start out with the little ones on. And I want all my coaches, I haven't gotten it done yet, but I keep telling them, you're going to all watch these videos that Ruth has put out so that you can kind of get these keywords, and we're all going to be using the same kind of keywords throughout so that we all kind of come at our kids with the same basic foundation. So,
okay, so that means I better not hold my breath waiting for them to read.
it's on my to-do list this summer. Get those bought so that they can take a look at them.
Okay,
that's awesome. All right, now something I'm really excited to learn more about. You recently attended the 2025 USA Volleyball Hall of Fame event in Denver. What was that experience like for you, and what moments stood out the most?
Oh man, so this was like it wasn't Olympic level, like I'm at the Olympics, but I didn't realize how big it was until we got there, and I got to meet all these amazing people. I mean, Ruth is so inclusive. She always introduces both me and my daughter to whoever we're around. I don't care if they're the biggest name or whatever. And it just overwhelms me with gratitude that one, she just views us that way,
Right.
and allows us to be a part of that. But all the people there were very humble. They talked to us. They were excited to be there, and we just had a blast. I mean, it was so great getting to know some of Ruth's players. One of her former kids that now lives in Colorado was there, and her mother was so kind and sweet. Everybody was just, it was just overwhelmingly wonderful. Like I really enjoyed it. It was a big deal. And of course, my daughter, from the moment that Ruth was like, you can sit at our table, I was like, Ruth, we don't have to sit at your table. We just want to come support you. Like, no, there's a spot. I'll get you there. Okay, Ruth. Jay was like, looking at the emails, she'd send them to me or send me a screenshot going, oh my gosh, like she couldn't believe that we're doing this thing. So it has been an amazing experience.
Well, that's really cool. That's really cool. I got to see some of the pictures, but that's awesome to hear that you got to do that.
Yeah, it was great. So
So
blessed.
let me ask you this part. Um, do you feel it wouldn't have been the same feeling had you not had Jalen with you?
Um, well,
That's
Jalen is very, she's never met a stranger. So in that respect, she allows me to mix it up with people where I might sit back and just be a grown up. Like I'm older, I'm not. So, there were a few moments though, like when I saw Danielle Scott, I was like, that's Danielle Scott. And Jay's like, okay. And I'm like, I'm gonna go ask her to get my picture. She's like, no, you're not. I'm like, yes, I am. Where just 20 minutes before, she's telling me the same thing, like it's a once in a lifetime thing, mom, go. Then she's trying to hold me back. But overall, she allows me to relax and really enjoy. She's cutting up with Penny Lucas White, and she's cutting up with Rose Majors, Powell, and I'm like, they're her BFFs now. They're tight. It's so funny.
So what influence do you think the event had over Jalen as a coach?
Well, I think it opened her eyes to a little bit of, what's great about an event like that is you have historical legends of the game, and
Uh-huh.
then you have some of the more fresh, newer, people that are doing things both in big ways, like Carrie Walsh, but also these people that are behind the scenes doing things like scorekeeping and reffing and things that you don't even realize or think about because we take those people for granted, right?
Uh-huh.
So I think it opened both of our eyes to just all of that. But for her specifically, I just think that she is able to see the game in a bigger way, like not just the people we see on TV, but
Uh-huh.
like the whole picture, like how the whole organization works versus just the big dogs that you see in
Okay,
real life.
so what about having Ryan Mitchell being inducted at the same time? David, did you know she coached Ryan?
I did not. That's cool. I did not know that.
Yes, he was on the club team at DBU when I was the women's coach there, and so my job was women's and men. So yeah, Ryan, I met him there, worked with him a little bit there, and yeah, I thought it was amazing.
How about Tatum being there?
And what a cutie. She's such a doll, and she had a ball walking around getting everybody's autographs. So it was great to have him there. It was great that I got to see both of you. I don't take credit for anything Ryan has done whatsoever. And coaching him, I probably didn't teach him much at all, but just it was just an honor and a privilege to be able to see him get honored because one, I do know him from way back, and then of course Ruth being my mentor and someone who has invested so much in me. I mean, it was great. Great to be a part
Okay,
of it.
so now we got to shift gears here. So, as someone who wears multiple hats, coach, club director, and youth program founder, how do you balance it all and stay connected to what you started?
Oh gosh. Well, this kind of really goes back to the part I didn't answer of the question earlier about how we involve our Christian values into the
Uh-huh.
program. But that's it. My why is to glorify Jesus Christ. That's the reason Texas Wave began. It wasn't something I was like, oh, I'm going to go start this club. It was an opportunity that um, kind of was presented to me about a different teaching position. And in doing this new position, it would allow me to do this. It had been a thought playing in the back of my mind for a few years, but not on any level of let's do this.
Uh-huh.
So what keeps me grounded, what keeps me remembering is my why. And when I think about this is too much, I can't do this anymore. Why am I doing this? Does it really matter? I think the goal is to impact kids through sport or using sport as the vehicle to impact them positively for the kingdom. And so if we're doing kingdom work, God never says it's easy
Uh-huh.
because it's going to be hard, right? And so my goal is to just look at Christ and keep doing what I feel like he wants me to do, to keep following until he says that's enough. And when he wants this thing to shut down, he'll shut it down and we'll move on from there. But until then, I just keep that as my focus.
Well, the ministry is important for you, and it's important to share that with others.
Yeah.
And probably is not being done enough, like many other things. But now is a really important time in it. So now that you're stepping in as a co-host in a permanent basis to the RNN Sports Gym, what excites you most about being on the media side of youth sports?
Well, I think for the media side, one, I get to meet people that I would never have crossed paths with otherwise. Um, it's allowed me to hopefully grow in my ability to communicate or just kind of be in this type situation.
Uh-huh.
And so I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed just the I guess the challenge of doing something new and different, and definitely something that I would have never chose to do myself. It's something that you're like, hey, you want to do this? And I'm like, it's Ruth. I'm going to definitely do it. Yeah, I'm going to do what Ruth asked me to do, because what if she stops asking? And so we're doing this thing. And so it's just been another part of the ride of growing and hopefully impacting the game in the future.
Well, David knows that part. He probably thought, okay, I'm going to just be a guest one time and
Yep, I'm just gonna help out. I'm just gonna fill in whenever.
Oh yeah, you filled in for me.
That's right. See, so you're responsible, Kristi.
Yes,
See,
sir.
another
See,
great.
I'm growing the game. I'm
That's
growing.
right. With Ruth, Ryan, and now me. There you
There you
go.
go.
all right, David.
All right. Well, with all of your experience and everything we've learned about, what advice would you offer to other coaches or directors who wish to establish a youth program in a smaller, underserved community?
The advice that I would offer is well, one, you have to establish a facility, and definitely establish your why, like what's your goal and purpose with this club, and then jump in with both feet. There are people willing to help. NTR is really good about answering questions and helping you get your club up and rolling. And you could reach out to me, because there are a lot of things I couldn't get answered that I definitely know how to do now, that I would definitely help people move in that direction. So
All
don't
right.
be afraid to ask questions. That's my biggest advice. And go for it.
For sure. And then looking ahead, what are your hopes for the growth of Texas Wave Volleyball and the Little Waves program in the next few years?
Gosh, my biggest hope is that we could somehow get a facility where we could have more involvement year round versus kind of scaling it way down in certain times of the year. And even our summer stuff, we could be doing something every day. My coaches could be doing privates. We could just be offering a lot more to our community at very reasonable prices.
Mm-hmm.
And then, we have 8 teams. We've kind of averaged 8 teams the last 3 seasons. We could have done some more this year, but I don't have the facilities to run that. But I think in the future, 8 teams works well for what I do, because I do basically all the working parts of the club. My coaches are great about stepping in and helping in different ways that I need them. And so is my family. So I'm very blessed in that respect. But I just think that, having a facility would definitely help us to grow in lots of directions and in lots of different ways.
Kristi, as we conclude, could you share 2 key insights with our viewers? First, why is it so valuable for youth coaches, club directors, recreational administrators, parents, and elementary school teachers to fully utilize the resources available on our 24/7 RNN Sports Gym virtual platform?
So the resources there are gold. I mean, you can go through there, you can see little snippets of the fundamentals, how to do the skills, not to mention that you can get little like drills, like how to actually implement them with your kids. You can see Ruth going through it step by step. You can see the kids working through those things as well. And the big thing for me is a reminder that everything doesn't have to be perfect before I move on to the next step. So for me, it's a reminder of how that looks in real time, and that it's okay that kid's not doing it exactly right. So those are just great tools to have at your fingertips.
Okay, so what motivated you to originally join the RNN Sports Gym website, or was it when you first became part of the GoKids certification process?
Yes, it was when I got really decided on this whole GoKids thing. I'm going to do this all. And so that was when I got on it. Once I figured it all out, and I watched a little video from the little girl who tells us the little tour, how to go through it. I mean, and I get on there every time I'm ordering equipment, I get on there, because as a VIP member, you get discounts. And I mean, I definitely am on that thing using those discounts.
All right, David, you got the last question here.
Well, Kristi, thank you for sharing your volleyball journey and insights today. As we wrap up, Could you advise aspiring coaches about finding mentors or role models to help shape their coaching approach and provide the best training and programs for their athletes?
Gosh, I used to think all the time how I just really want a really good mentor in my life. And it wasn't even sports related at that time. And then I think, how in the world did I get a Ruth Nelson as a mentor, right? But I think my big advice about all of that, especially when it comes to a specific field, is to not be afraid to go up to people and ask questions. Ruth and I began because she's out there on a court. I'm like, who is this lady out here with these weird balls and what are they doing and what's the purpose? And I just go sit quietly on the bleachers and watch her do her thing. Thank goodness I didn't go out there and try to say something to her. But when she got done, I asked some questions and she was so willing to answer. And I feel like most people that I have asked any kind of questions to throughout this whole journey, most people are willing to give you information and advice and explain what it is that they're doing so that you can be better at it. And you just never know when you might run across somebody who's willing to really pour back into you.
Wow. Well, a special thank you to our co-host, David, and to the 45 GoKids Youth Sports Skills Trainers who continue to make a lasting impact in the world of youth sports. Your dedication and passion are and helping shape the next generation, one athlete at a time. I had the privilege today of doing an interview with JVA, which is Junior Volleyball Association. And the many things that make sense to me is having organizations that allow you to have resources. Because a lot of times associations are there for your membership and you pay that yearly and that's how they function. But I've gotten to know JVA, even though I don't have a club program, I've gotten to know them where they basically help you. Okay, I need insurance. Where's the insurance? Okay, I need to know what other club directors do. I'm looking at some videos for this type of thing. And it was worth because they were very interested in what, and as a matter of fact, Bree, when she asked me, she goes, Ruth, every time I see, there's so many things you're involved in. And I said, it's no different than what you've done at JVA. You've taken all the elements that are important to develop a club program, from the coaches, the kids, the parents, and of course the facilities, that part. But I said, I've done the same thing. You may have a program, but you need people that are certified. You need to know if they don't want the kids involved, like BYOP, some parents don't want to be involved. Then you have to have a certification program. So I respect those 45 people that have been part of the project Get Certified, which they didn't even know they're part of my project. But it is for 2030. I want to have 100 coaches because it's not even, the fact is that how is it that with my 56 years of being in the sport, why is it that I still can learn? Why? So everybody surely should be able to learn.
Right.
So if I look at all the young coaches, it's like David asked you, are there some things that you're using with the little kids that you use with the older kids? And of course, that's true. So if you know someone teaching kids ages 10 and under, send them our way to the 24/7 virtual gym, www.rnnsportsgym.com. They can explore a wide range of educational videos by becoming members and gain access to our exclusive RNN Sports Gym private Facebook group. Remember to like and share our public pages on Facebook, Instagram, and X with friends, teachers, kids, and youth coaches. Our approach in teaching kids 10 and under is something that you don't want to miss. Don't miss our monthly chat box on Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, available pre-recorded on our private RNN Sports Gym Facebook group. And we look forward to seeing you on July 9th for our next In the Know series with a surprise guest. And Kristi, we will give you one chance to do one parting statement.
One parting statement. I just want to say, thank you for the opportunities, Ruth, to be involved in what you do and to learn from you, and to have that great experience at USA Volleyball. Thanks for getting inducted.
Oh,
We appreciate that. David, thanks for talking to me tonight. It's good seeing you again. And yeah, if you want to learn, you just got to ask questions. Go for it.
And David, thank you. Somebody asked me if I coerced both of you in doing this. And I said, I don't think so. And I hope not. I hope that in 5 years you can look back and say, it might have been tough at first, and sometimes it might be tougher, but at least it gave you an experience that you might not have started yourself.
For sure, I can agree to that.
Yes.
Well, thank you both, and I appreciate both of you being co-host for both of the shows. And Kristi, you are way overdue for being interviewed of all the wonderful things that you've started to do and you continue to do. And we just have to continue to work on finding a few parents that can build you even a 3-court facility.
Absolutely.
Kaufman, Texas. So if there's anybody out there listening that's interested in expanding into Kaufman and letting Kristi really go gung-ho, don't forget to contact her at Texas Waves Volleyball. And the name of her young program is Little Waves. And David, we look forward to hearing more about Skyline. And thank you both for being on the show.
Thank you, Ruth.